Hey you all, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today's video is going to be a review, swatch, and demo of the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette. Let's jump into it. This is what it looks like. Timestamps will be down below if you want to jump ahead to any specific part of this video. So just some details about this palette to start. Like the other Naked palettes, it is $49. It does come with a brush. Sephora had like an exclusive launch date with them, so this is currently available on the Urban Decay website as well as Sephora. It is coming to Ulta on July 5th. Urban Decay is cruelty-free, but this palette is not vegan. It does contain carmine. The brush, however, is synthetic and it is cruelty-free and vegan. The packaging is absolutely stunning. I love this kind of like granite crystal marbling. Yeah, the packaging is A+. The color story also definitely makes me want to dig in. That's a good segue into like, is this palette naked? Like why, like how? Honestly, I don't think it even matters because like the whole point of Naked is not even to advertise a neutral palette anymore. It's just to advertise the Naked brand. Like obviously a good half of this palette is not neutral or natural, so whatever. I don't think that this palette is as foolproof to use as some of the other Naked palettes in that you could definitely go wrong with your color pairings, I think. I did a look yesterday that I ended up hating. They also have some shades in their standard collection of shadows that I'm surprised they didn't include in here, like Asphyxia is this lavender to blue duochrome shift, and Midnight Cowboy is a really good neutral mauve for the lid. I don't feel like there is a like mauve-based or purple-based neutral in here. So in that way, this color scheme was kind of surprising. But again, I do like the color scheme. So let's talk about the shadow quality. The shadow quality is disappointing. The ability for them not to crease throughout the day, as well as the blendability, A+. They don't crease and they blend really well. The pigmentation and the ability to layer these colors is a huge disappointment. These colors are not pigmented. I would love to say that that means this palette is going to be really easy to use, but the buildability isn't even quite there. And you're gonna see in the demo how I get these to work with a white sticky base and dampening my brush. However, without giving these shadows a little bit of extra love, you're gonna end up with a powdery, muddy look. I would say that this quality is better than most drugstore shadows, but does not even compare to indie eyeshadow brands. This palette from Colored Rain, I believe, was like $56 or something like that, which is not that much more than the Naked palette, and the quality is so much better on these. Here are some single shadows that I have, mostly from Adept and JD Glow, and I have a video swatching all of my like most magical indie eyeshadows that I'll link up in the cards and down below, so you can get an idea of the quality of shadow that I really look for. I feel like when I'm walking around my apartment, I really can't see dimension coming from these shadows at all. You know, I asked Christina, who's sitting on the couch a few feet away from me, what she thought of my eyeshadow, and she was like, I can't really see it from here, but it looks fine. The colors are not saturated enough for my liking, and I don't think they would be saturated enough for a deeper skin tone. So again, you're gonna see in the demo what techniques worked and didn't really work for using this palette. But today, when I did my makeup, I used this palette and I thought, okay, let me just do a pastel look. And with that intention, I actually quite like the way it turned out. I used this light off-white shade on my lid, and it has a little bit of an orangey kind of creamsicle tint. I used this in the crease and then the lavender in the crease. Also, I deepened up my outer V ever so slightly with this red purple, and then I put this light blue color called Lucid in my inner corner. I don't have any pastel palettes, so maybe I'll keep it for that purpose because I think this is really summery and cute. So I'm really on the fence about like whether this was worth the money for me and like whether I'll keep it. I do think the brush adds value value to the palette. These brushes generally are very good, and I generally take them out of these palettes and use them. I think this is better than the Naked Reloaded palette, but not as good as the Naked Honey palette. All right, so that is it for the review portion. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get into the swatches as well as some comparisons to single shadows I own, and after that you'll be able to stay tuned for the demo. All right, so let's get to swatching. So I'm gonna swatch Trippin', Mind Slip, Dazed, and Hacked. Okay, so you can see they're all really warm, peachy tones. Now let's swatch VR, Lucid, Optimized, and Warning. And you can see I'm really digging my fingers in there because they're pressed really hard in the pan. All right, so they're pretty sheer. VR is supposed to be one of those blue-brown duochromes, and I just don't even know how much it's picking up. Now let's watch Cyberpunk, Euphoric, Purple Dust, and Digital. Overall, pretty sheer. Swatches don't always tell the whole story. If you saw my Pat McGrath palette swatch video, you would have seen that the mattes didn't swatch super duper pigmented. But with metallics and sparkle shades, the swatch should be a little bit more intense. So let's go ahead and do some comparisons. So I'm gonna just be really mean right away and compare Euphoric to a JD Glow shadow. So this is Urban Decay Euphoric from the palette. And then this is JD Glow Anomaly. This one is super creamy to the touch, while the Urban Decay one I really had to dig my finger in to get a decent swatch. This one you really don't want to dig your finger in. I mean, which one's better? Now let's do Purple Dust. Not bad. This is NARS Kawaii. It comes with like a gold color. This is one of their duos. Actually, I think Urban Decay kind of beats that one. It feels softer to the touch though. I'm surprised that it wasn't more pigmented. Okay, actually see, that one does build. And then this is a NARS Dual Intensity shadow. Put a magnet on the back. I'll have the name on the screen. So I'm just gonna swatch that right in between. Now let's do probably the most disappointing shade in the palette, which is VR. And let's compare it first to Makeup Geek Insomnia, which is super soft and creamy to the touch. Then we have ColourPop Glass Bull. This is Adept ACD3. And then we have this shade from the Pat McGrath Subliminal palette. It is supposed to have like a blue reflect, and I can barely see it in the swatch. It's like kind of unfortunate. And this is the last comparison I'm gonna do. We're gonna compare Lucid, which is probably my favorite shade in the palette. This is Broken, but it is the Inglot Intense Sparkler Face Eyes Body Highlighter number 18. So the Inglot one is less pigmented in the base, like the base is more translucent, but the reflective properties are definitely more impressive on the Inglot one. This is Makeup Geek Pegasus. I don't even know why I swatched this one. It's just completely different. The last comparison for Lucid is going to be Sugar Pill Lumi Pigment. I'm going to swatch that one right here. And again, I'm not sure if you're gonna see what I'm seeing. This one, Lucid from the palette, is weirdly like showing up more when applied. I actually really think that the Inglot and Sugar Pill ones do the job a lot better. All right, so that was it for the swatches and the comparisons. Let's go ahead and jump into the demo. I'm gonna put some of my Becca Under Eye Corrector just in the inner corners of my eyes just to cancel out any darkness before we get into the eyeshadow. And then I'm going to prime just using a dot of the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. So I'm gonna start with the shade Trippin' in my inner corner and brow bone. Next, I'm gonna take Mind Slip on a fluffier brush and just use that to define the crease a little bit. And I'm gonna take Hacked and just kind of do the same thing, add a little bit more definition. And then I'm just kind of blending everything out with a clean brush. Now I'm gonna use Digital, the deepest shade in the palette, and I'm gonna use this to deepen up the outer V area. And I'm just blending that in with the other brush, and you can see that the pigment does spread. So that's not, you know, necessarily a good or a bad thing. When it comes to getting a really defined look, you kind of want to keep that in mind. I'm gonna take Lucid and let's see what that looks like on the lid. All right, let's try something like fun. I'm going to take Optimized, this matte lavender shade, on a pencil brush. Attempt to do like a fun little pop of lavender on the inner corner. That looks nice. It's not like the most pigmented. Okay, wiping off that pencil brush, I'm gonna try and make this look a little bit more purple. I'm gonna take the shade Cyberpunk right here, and I'm gonna place this on the outer corner. It's looking like a tiny bit dull. I think I'll do one last deepening step with this shade Purple Dust. It's not doing much. Okay, now last thing for the upper lid, I am going to take this shade VR, which looks like your kind of like blue-brown shade, and I am just popping that directly on top of everything. All right, so here's the finished eye look. It took me like 10-15 minutes to do. I could have worked a little bit harder at it, but truly I don't want to. I have somewhere to be, and in general with a palette like this, I kind of want it to just be fun and easy kind of thing. So it is about 9:30 right now, so when I get home later, I will check in with y'all and see how this look is looking. Okay, bye. Hey you all, so it is almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I did my makeup. Well, I finished it around 9:30. So it's been on for nearly 6 hours, and I have some thoughts. Going about my day, I was, you know, in natural daylight or in the regular lighting in my home. I was kind of feeling like these colors looked super dull. I think that these colors don't catch the light super well unless the lighting conditions are ideal. But one thing that is incredible is that they did not crease at all, and my eyelids just like tend to crease. I'm comfortable stopping here so I can take this off and try another look, with the intention of testing these shadows out with some techniques that you can use to amplify the pigmentation. So take 2 with the Naked Ultraviolet palette. I already have just like a dot of concealer and corrector. I am going to top that off with the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk to give both a sticky base and to create that really white canvas. By the way, I didn't remove my mascara and eyeliner all the way because no. Ew. I'm just taking that chunk that fell off the pencil and warming it up on my hand. I am gonna do 2 different eye looks this time. So let's start with Optimized, this matte lavender shade. Let's go ahead and spray this flat shader brush with the Mario Badescu spray. And let's try a shade that I didn't use this morning. Let's try Dazed. That looks quite nice. Okay, I actually think that that foiled really well on the lid. It's not making my eyelid look like 75 years old and wrinkly. So I'm wetting my pencil brush, and then let's try Purple Dust again. Wiping off my flat brush and dampening it again, let's try the shade Euphoric. I'm wiping off that flat brush again and dampening it one more time. And I'm gonna use Lucid. And I'm just gonna take that same shade on my finger and just intensify it. And then I'm just gonna take Trippin' and I am going to pop that in the inner corner and on the brow bone. Okay, let's try and do something completely different on my other eye. First, I'm gonna go into Hacked. Okay, that's blending out pretty well despite the fact that we are using an unset sticky base. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and dip into Mind Slip with a fluffier brush and blend that out and warm it up a little bit. Now without dampening my flat brush, I am taking Trippin' and I'm just gonna put that all over the lid. We are putting this flat brush through the ringer, by the way. It is the Smith 253 small arrowhead brush. So I'm wiping that off, dampening it again, and I'm going to dip into VR. And I'm gonna put that right over top where I put that light creamy shade called Trippin'. And I'm seeing that the base of VR is actually kind of pigmented, unlike a lot of other colors that have this same kind of duochrome effect, but I can't really see so much of that blue shimmer. So when I use it dry with my finger, I get a lot more of that glittery duochrome effect, but I did get a lot of the base pigment when I wet the brush. I'm also not mad at how this looks. I think it's quite pretty. I'm gonna take Digital on a pencil brush and just deepen up the outer corner now that the crease color and the lid color kind of look really similar and we lost some of that contrast. And I'm not getting fallout, by the way. As a deepener shade, I don't know, it's like a tiny bit weak sauce. I wish they had just like a matte, really dark brown in here or really, really dark purple. And then I'm taking this like weird shaped brush that I use for the inner corner a lot and I am dampening it. I'm gonna take the shade Lucid one more time. I love these kinds of shades, so I'm excited that I got it to work on the other eye. And I'm just gonna put that in my inner corner. And let's just go for it and put it on the brow bone too. And then just for funsies, I'm gonna dampen this flat liner brush and go into Cyberpunk, and I am just lining the lower lash line with that. I'm gonna go ahead and pop on a little under eye concealer as well as some black eyeliner. Okay, and these are the finished eye looks using the Ultraviolet Naked palette. Okay, you all, I just want to take a second to give you my final thoughts after having used this palette pretty much every day for a week. Through editing the video, I have grown to really resent this palette. I think that the color scheme is really cool. I really like the color scheme. Let me know if you'd like me to do a video duping the color story of this palette because the quality of the shadows is just not there and it's so frustrating to watch the footage of myself trying to create a better look with this. I'm really not the type of person to spend an hour on my makeup using 2 different primers and dampening my brush and all of that. I just think that with indie makeup, you really don't have to take all of those extra steps. And the fact that this palette is $49, it's really not worth it in my opinion. And I kind of feel like Urban Decay is giving up a little bit on their shadow formula. I don't really know what the deal is, but yeah, I'm really disappointed and I kind of want to return this palette only because of how much money it costs. Normally I would just gift it to somebody else, but I don't even think it's like good enough to like, you know, give to somebody in my family who's just starting out with makeup, you know what I mean? So anyways, let me know what you think. All right, everyone, that is it for the review, swatch, and demo of the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette. I hope you enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more content from me. Make sure to hit the bell if you want to be put on notifications, and otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye!